Welcome! Each week I look through the literature looking for interesting stories about the weather and climate, and this video represents the summary of that research for the week ending the 1st of March. As many of you may know, my background is in astrophysics, and so every now and then I like to throw in the odd news item about that, and there have been several this last week. Now, my field of study for the last 40 years has been how variations on the sun affect the Earth. That's now called space weather. But the sun has been very quiet this last month. There have been no sunspots, which is not untypical of solar minimum. So we ask the question, are we at, past, or near solar minimum? Well, that's difficult to say because the solar minimum is defined as the minimum number of sunspots averaged over a 13-month period. So you have to wait for quite some time after a solar minimum to be able to determine when it was. And we aren't at that stage yet. However, the new cycle, solar cycle 25, is starting to appear. We're seeing some high latitude reverse polarity regions appearing on the sun at the moment. I'm going to show you a couple of movies. One is the low corona taken with the SDO AIA instrument, and the other one is the outer corona looking at coronal mass ejections taken by the LASCO instrument on SOHO. I hope you will enjoy.
This is a movie 1 month long of the lower corona, temperature just under 1 million degrees. You can see clearly here that the two polar coronal holes are well established. You can see the southern ones more clearly than the northern one because at the moment the northern hemisphere of the sun is tilted away from us. You can see some trans-equatorial coronal holes which may give us some high-speed solar wind streams and therefore geomagnetic storms. This is the coronagraph movie. The circle in the middle of the sun is the normal disk of the sun, and so we're seeing the outer corona here. I particularly want you to watch off the east limb of the sun, which is the left-hand side of this, to look for explosions away from the sun. Those are coronal mass ejections and in fact can cause significant space weather.
Now, if you were asked in a trivia session which planet only has one moon, the standard answer is Earth. But at the moment, that's not true. Earth has just gained a second moon. A tiny asteroid has been captured by the Earth and is now orbiting it. It's barely 10 feet in diameter, that's about 3 meters. Obviously, it's not going to be visible to the naked eye because it's a long way away and also relatively small. And it may only last as a second moon for the Earth for a few weeks or a few months at best because its orbit is unstable. Here's a picture of the moon taken by the Catalina Sky Survey, and you can see it's a very tiny faint object against the background stars. So you're going to need a big telescope if you want to find out where it is and see it. From the ridiculously small to the sublimely large. Astronomers have observed the second biggest explosion ever, except for the Big Bang, which of course wasn't observed. An explosion was near a supermassive black hole. Fortunately for us, it was over 300 million light years away, otherwise we might have been fried. The energy release was an astounding 5 times 10 to the 54 joules, as estimated by the observers. And that, just for your information to put it in some perspective, is 1 million times the annual energy usage of the entirety of humanity in a year. You may recall a couple of weeks ago I was reporting the torrential rains in the South Island of New Zealand. Well, it turns out the North Island is in a record drought. Some areas have not had any rain since November. The army has been called in to deliver water to some of the remote towns that are running out. You may recall that the UK has been recently hit by 2 major storms in just about a week and caused major flooding. That flooding has continued. In fact, it seems that some places are going to have to wait at least another week for the floodwaters to subside. But hold on, the news is not good because there's yet a third storm on its way called George with 70 miles an hour winds and apparently lots and lots of more rain. Well, the United States, in the meantime, is being rather schizophrenic, showing both lots of flooding and also dry areas. There's been record rainfall in the southeast. As one meteorologist put it, Mississippi is beyond saturated. This has led to widespread flooding across the area. Meanwhile, there's been almost no rain in the West in February. San Francisco had literally no rain in that month, which, having lived there, is quite remarkable. And that record stretches back to before the Civil War. As I reported earlier, much of the Great Lakes service area remains ice-free, so winds passing across the lake can pick up a lot of water. This has resulted in a great deal of snow in the Great Lakes area, particularly in the northern part of New York State. Though this effect seems to be winding down, there's still a forecast of at least another 5 inches of snow in that area. I have some bad news for wine lovers. A mild winter in Germany has made that their ice wine crop has been destroyed. None of Germany's 13 wine-growing areas got the hard freeze they need to produce the ice wine. This is the first time in the recorded history of the German wine industry that this has happened. So people are beginning to wonder with global warming whether ice wine is going to start to become a rarity. Well, the coronavirus continues to spread. This is the situation as of the end of February. And you can see the situation is serious in China, South Korea, Japan, Iran and Italy. So far we have 89,000 cases with about 45,000 recoveries and over 3,000 deaths. Currently the coronavirus has been identified in 69 countries. This is what the map looked like last week at this time, and you can see there's been a considerable increase in both the numbers and the area that is being covered by this particular virus. There's a saying that every dark cloud has a silver lining. Well, I'm not sure how much of a silver lining this is, but nonetheless, let's see what NASA has to report. NASA has shown this picture over China. On the left, there is the pollution levels shown in orange and red here from January the 1st to January the 20th, before the major outbreak of the coronavirus. The picture on the right is on the 20th to 25th of February, and you can see most of that pollution has gone. That's because factories have been closed down and there are less cars exhaust on from the roads. Now the thing about pollution in China is it kills a lot of people. It is estimated there's over 1 million premature deaths each year from polluted air in China. So hopefully this cleaning up of the air, at least temporarily, will prolong or maybe even save a few of those lives. Well, that's it for this week. So until next time, goodbye.